Good morning. What a beautiful time to be out in the woods here with amazing volunteer naturalist Joe Rogers. And we're here to talk about beech trees today. Or I'm going to let Joe do most of the talking. I'm going to ask him a few questions so he could share some of the cool things that he knows about beech trees and why you might want to pay attention to them. So first, Joe, what are some of the key characteristics to a beech tree? If a person doesn't know our American beech, what should they look for first to jump out at them?
Right. Of course, the American beech, Fagus grandifolia, is a native tree. One of the most dynamic characteristic of the beech tree is its gray, smooth bark. Now, this is a small tree here behind me. This website may show some larger ones. They can get, more than 2 or 3 people can put their arms around them. They get quite large and can be 200 or 300 years old. But the smooth bark has a drawing of people that wants to carve on it, and that's not good for the tree. Anytime you carve on a plant, it has a possibility of introduction of disease. So we want to try to resist carving on beech trees.
I think we've all seen a lot of trees all carved up like that, and it doesn't add to their beauty.
No,
it detracts from it, and as you said, can introduce disease.
Exactly.
And the other thing too, I know that the beech leaves, they have a simple leaf, and you got some hiding behind you there.
Simple leaf, yeah.
And
yes, and of course we'll talk about the leaf here. As you can see, the leaf is pliable. And
so you've got a little branch there, right?
Yes or not?
You've got a little branch there, right?
Yes, it's a small branch that I just use for demonstration purposes. But it's real pliable, like paper or a paper bag. You can hear the sound.
Mm-hmm.
And another characteristic during the winter time when it's dormant is there's a lance leaf dormant bud. It's shaped like a lance, real pointy. You could tell that that's going to stay on during the winter, so you can identify the tree along with the smooth bark.
And it's amazing that little bud, just like another winter buds, contains all those leaves for next year in there, right?
The push was from this growth here. We had about 2 inches of growth from that bud, so there's a lot of life that's sitting dormant in that bud, waiting to produce its crop of leaves for next year.
Okay.
Now, beech also produces a fruit or food or a nut called beech nut. And everybody's heard of beech nut foods, beech nut tobacco, baby food. One I remember in particular is beech nut fruit stripe gum. The old folklore says that logo that Beech Nut Company used with that beech nut, that a lot of our earlier farmers would let hogs run out into the woods to eat beech nuts for nourishment, highly nutritious. So it fattened up their hogs for the winter and made a really high quality pork product on their animals, meat animals. Well, I guess beech nut used that as the same kind of a criteria for producing their food products in their gum and the chewing gum, etc. But there's an interesting character in that beech nut fruit stripe advertisement. There's an elephant in there. And one of the ways that you can identify beech nuts, a beech nut tree in itself, is the gray, smooth bark. And if you think of an elephant and the elephant skin, the elephant leg, that's how you would kind of associate the beech nut, the beech tree, with an elephant. So those are the kind of the guidelines that company used, comparing beech nuts and its nice healthful fruit or nut and food that is produced under that name,
including tobacco, which is
well, I think that may even still be on the market today.
Yeah, I think it is too. So it's like that was very clever.
That was clever of that company. Yes, you're right.
Clever marketing.
Yep.
Well, what about wildlife? I am quite certain that many creatures must find beech nuts nutritious. I think you mentioned that hogs do. So what about wildlife? Which ones?
Well, squirrels in particular. There's very few beech nuts that ever hit the ground. hunters know that if you find a great beech with a lot of beech nuts, it's going to be full of squirrels. They know about them probably before even the hunters. Another thing, a beech, once it gets some age on it, it starts to get that hollow heart and starts to hollow out, and of course the tree weakens and they do fall. But it's wonderful shelter in the winter for a lot of our animals that they don't necessarily go dormant, but they are looking for a shelter to reside over the winter because their metabolism slows down. Possums and coons, and I guess if it's large enough, maybe even a bear, but maybe not in Bernheim at this point.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. It's always a pleasure to talk with you and be out in the woods especially. So I greatly appreciate your presence here today, and we'll talk to you soon.
You're welcome, and we'll see you later. Thank you now. Bye-bye.